They'll lynch you. But he did, and he laughs at
Yes, he is back. DJ Rusty B back from his epic holiday to Orlando. I hope you're safe wherever you may. Give it a like, give it a comment, give it a share, give it a bloody good subscribe. Oh, I've had to put a jumper on. Oh, I'm full of cold. I'm full of jet lag. But I'm here. I'm here. And thanks to Mr. Baker, who I'm sure is going to be joining me in a bit. But obviously holding the fort whilst I've been away. I did pop on, actually, for Irish Tommy, when Irish Tommy was doing the Brentford game. But anyway, I hope you're all safe and well. It's Leeds, dirty Leeds tonight. And we'll be covering that as per usual. Back to normal. We're all back. We've got a fully fit squad. Well, not West Ham, but we have got a fully fit squad now at the West Ham network. And obviously coming January, we've got maybe some transfers coming into the West Ham network side. We'll see. Also, what was I going to say? Next week, hopefully, we might have an ex-Hammer. Even Anton doesn't know about this. Breaking news. Hopefully, next week, we're going to get David Connolly on the show. David Connolly, West Ham striker. Particularly, I remember really well in the season we went down. There was him, Neil Mellor, various others. But hopefully, we get David on. Obviously, he's a TalkSport reporter. And Corey, come on. No. Right, start again, Russ. You can tell I'm still in jet lag mode. But he's obviously on TalkSport. But hopefully, we'll get him on the channel next week. And we've got a few more ex-Hammers lined up as well. Let's have a quick look in the chat. Come on, Moisey, you old ginger jock. There we go. Turn it around. There's still hope. It's the hope that kills you, Toby. You know that. We always stand by. Welcome home. Thank you. Welcome home. Welcome. And I told you I'm full of cold. Happy New Year. Of course, Happy New Year to everybody. Happy New Year 2023. Oh, I haven't seen you since last year. Welcome. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm back in the house. Thank the Lord he's back indeed. Yes, you're right. Connolly did score his debut against Preston away. I remember that game. Watched it in a pub. Remember that game very, very... Put my phone on charge. There we go. Marcus, Happy New Year to all the Hammers and Hammerettes. Maybe wisdom. See, I'm back, you see. That's it. Fortune's changed. So I am back. But what we thought we'll do today, because obviously, with everything else, all the games we usually do sort of your starting 11. So we thought we'd do a predicted starting 11 live. And it's live, so I give you my thoughts. Mr. Baker's in the green room as well. He'll be giving you, so it'll be like bantering back and forth. Who we're going to think is going to start tonight, and then we can see how well we get on. Well, we'll give it a go. Artel, hope you're well. I'll be reading all your comments on your videos. Yes, hope you're well. We read all of your comments as well. We do. Right. God dear. Oh dear. Let me sort myself out. Right. So what we're going to do? I'll just bring him in. Look, he's in the background. He's doing his work. He's going to be working same as me. There he is. Hello.
Thank the Lord. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Just call me Russ. It's a hell of a lot easier.
Welcome back, Russ Buddin.
Welcome. We're glad to be back. I'm glad to be back, mate. I'm looking.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, mate. Are you really? I mean, you were in Florida, Orlando, living it up in the nice sunny weather, while we were.
Well, you say that. You say that.
Everyone's got the cold and the flu, mate.
I've still got it. I've still got it. I've got it back. And no, you say that, but on Christmas Day it was something like because obviously because of the what they call it, the something boom. Was it the there was some sort of because of America had like a freak like 2 or 3 days.
The crazy weather.
Yeah, something boom they called it. Yeah, something like that. And we had on Christmas Day I was in Magic Kingdom, but I was in a jumper. It was about 9 degrees, which is like standard here, but in Florida it's like the end of the world. They had people like shivering, these women like shivering. Yeah. It's like, get it over yourself. This is, it's like, but warming up a bit towards the end, which was nice. I'll anyone who follows me on Facebook, I'll put up some pictures soon, put a few up. But Christmas Day I was in my Christmas jumper and pajamas. But there we go.
Well, you missed all the minus. We all had -10 in the UK, and all our pipes were freezing, and you name it. You name it.
Yeah. I met West Ham owner. Look, there we are. There's me and Sully. Not David Sullivan, obviously. We met a subscriber, Christian, in my hotel. So if Christian's watching, welcome. Hopefully you're safe from your holidays. Travels back as well, so that was quite nice. My friends couldn't believe it.
Russ, can I just address something? Can I just address something? So whilst you've been away, I've been having major internet problems, and I think it's kicking in again. Now, for people who want to know, I did order a Ethernet cable. It's within the shop, which is very close to where I live. I went to collect it yesterday, and the shop was bloody closed. So at some point today, I will be nipping there, and then fingers crossed we'll have it all resolved. So apologies for that.
No problem. No worries. Yes, I did see some people moaning about your internet, but yeah, it happens. It is what it is, isn't it? Right, okay. So, Dirty Leeds tonight, mate. Thoughts? I mean, you're going to do a little preview, I think, for Hammer's headlines tonight. But what are your initial thoughts going into the game tomorrow?
Listen, we of course need the victory. Of course we do, for loads of reasons. For pushing ourselves up the league, for morale, for everything that we possibly want, to take the pressure off slightly of David Moyes, you name it, we need a victory. It's not going to be easy. No game in the Premier League is proving to be easy. It never has been, really. Essentially, we've just come off the expectation of having 2 good seasons, and it's about managing our expectations and fingers crossed Moyes being able to get the best out of the players that he's got in front of him. If we do have the inclusion of the one player at centre-back, disappointing that we wouldn't have Zuma there as well. But if Naif Aguerd does start, that helps the process. I've just got to hope that Moyes continues with the mindset of change rather than resorting back, in my opinion. You've got so many people calling for change, and then when it didn't work against Brentford, people are digging them out again, and I'm like, well, you see what I mean? Like, you've got to give the guy a chance to be able to try and change it, try and do something a little bit different. And tonight's game's huge for players like Skamaka. Like, get off the mark again, mate. Go for it. Go and do what you do. Go and prove what you can do. So it's going to be tough, mate. Leeds aren't great themselves, but 1 minute you hear West Ham fans turning around watching the Man City game thinking, well, why can't West Ham do that? Well, they got beat 3-1. So Leeds gave it a go and got beat 3-1. And I know we want to at least try. I get that mindset. But you listen to Stuart Pearce's interview the other day with TalkSport, Russ. He said that Moyes is always going to go on the side of caution.
Yeah, and I think I think Nobe said it in his book, wasn't it? I think it was in his autobiography. He mentioned about Moyes' mentality. So, like, I mean, obviously, I watched the Brentford game, and I was sick on my sun lounge. I was watching the game, and it was, for the first half hour, I was really impressed. I thought we played some really nice football, and I was like, "Fuck, Jesus, where's this team come from?" And then it was like a couple of sucker punches, really, from Brentford. And Moyes is not the type of person who, he made a change. He made some significant changes for the Brentford game, and so I don't see him reverting back to type in terms of going back to the old way, because actually I think this is the new way forward. Particularly, he's spoken very openly about the Paqueta Rice duo in midfield. Bonner's come out and said that as well. How so there's positive vibes in terms of that partnership following. So I don't see potentially Souček coming back in personally, but I think we could see a similar formation. The thing about Leeds obviously Leeds have got some injury worries as well. And the whole thing with Zuma, they are missing quite a few. Bamford, I think, is out. And I just think we know that Zuma's not going to be he's unavailable. I mean, he's actually that's what he said at the press conference, wasn't he? Zuma's going to be unavailable, and Cornet's got this sort of freak condition, which his surgeons only seen once in, his consultants only seen once in 25 years, something ridiculous like that as well. So
to be honest though, Russ, it was getting like that anyway. I mean, to be told for 3 months that he's got something wrong with his calf was starting to be concern, really. And then you're looking at him on his own Instagram, and he's ramming, like he's going at it, like he's he's really giving it hell for leather in his training sessions in the gym, and then you're thinking to yourself, why is he not making it? So there's obviously something not right there,
There's something not right there. I think he's one of those players who has to play. He has to be 100% fit to play. That's just his mentality. That's what I've heard about him. He's the type of person he doesn't like. If he's a little bit injured, he'll rule himself out of the game. If that makes sense, he has to be 100%. And it is what it is. Unfortunately, I think the frustration thing is, particularly at the beginning of the season, you see the signings and everyone was so positive, and we were never going to get a situation where, well, we hopefully wouldn't have got a situation where they've all been firing all cylinders. They haven't been firing all cylinders. Then you had the World Cup, and now we're sort of starting the season. It's almost like we're starting the season again, but we're like 14 games in or something like that already. So, or 17 games in already. So it is what it is. But I always, it's always about who's, someone's Kaiser just asked, am I still Moyes in? For me, I am always, whoever's in the dugout gets my full support. That's what I've always said. Whoever's in the dugout, whoever wears a West Ham shirt on the pitch gets my support, And if it changes, if someone else is in the dugout, then fair enough, they'll get my full support. But that's it. He has to be to work for the club. Well, I don't work for the club necessarily, but that's my opinion. I've always been, I've always, for me, it's a case of, the grass isn't always greener. We've done that before with Pellegrini many a time. We've had these false dawns. But for me, I was looking back and looking at the Premier League and our performance in the last sort of 20 odd years. We've had a great couple of years, and I think we've set ourselves up nicely. So if it's Moyes he'd take us through, if it's someone else, fair enough, innit?
That's easy for people to say, though. That's easy for people to say that you work for the club and you're going to be like that. No, I mean, if you watch the shows and the channels, you'll see that Russ is extremely critical, more than sometimes I am, of the situation. Probably. It's just that I think the difference between maybe myself and Russ is that because we are quite similar in terms of our opinion on West Ham, and we like to compute things and take a bit of time before we make that decision rather than jumping the gun, because like Russ just said there, we've jumped the gun before and look what happened when the last time it happened. So unless I knew, and I'm probably the same as you, mate, like there's no one clear cut out there that I would go hell for leather for. The only one, there is one person that kind of intrigues me more than anyone, and that's
who.
But that didn't mean he's going to come in and get success, because he got sacked for the reason, he left for the reason that he left at Leeds. Yeah. So, but he excites me. He's an exciting manager.
He's exciting. I mean, the football is exciting, but we've seen that actually you can't have that situation. He had, in the first season he came in with Leeds, it was refreshing. Then he got found out. For me, the next manager has to have 2 or 3 game plans up his sleeve. It's fair to say that Moyes has maybe 1.5 game plans up his sleeve. And the fact is, this is true. The fact is, for the last 2.5 years, we've been playing the same way. And Brentford, and the likes of Palace, these sort of mid-table teams, they figured out how to play us at home. All you do is give us the ball and then hit us on the counter-attack. Where we previously had, all games we seem to play well in, against teams was 30% possession, and then we'd go on the counter-attack and score. That they're doing the same thing to us. They're out West Hamming us in terms of our formation. We haven't got a plan B. So, for me, whatever happens, we need to have 2 or 3 different game plans, and I don't think Bielsa had that. I don't think there's, to be honest, you look who's around. Tuchel's not going to come to us. We're not a Champions League side. Neither's Pochettino. The guy from there was one guy I was reading on the article who was the Schalke boss under Tilo Kehrer. He looks interesting, but unproven at Premier League. So everyone has plus and minuses. Everyone who comes in. Same with Moyes, keeping Moyes or getting rid of him. It's fair to say that I think I read somewhere that there's no Premier League manager's gone 6 games without has lost 6 consecutive games and not kept their job. So if we lose today and he stays in charge, that would be a first. So I'm sure more people would turn. But for me, I think it's about having a number of different options. So we're not playing the same way all the time, so we can get found out. I hope, for me, I hope Graham Potter gets sacked at Chelsea, and I wouldn't mind Graham Potter coming in. To be honest, that'd be my choice. But that's dependent on him losing the Chelsea job. So it is what it is. Is what it is, Mandy. Let's hope Moyes finds the right formation selection tonight. We'll talk about it in a minute. It's just bad football. Even mid-table with this team is not good enough. Even if Moyes stays and keeps us, he still won't be happy. For me, it's Europe or bust this season. Europe or bust. I can't see us doing anything in the FA Cup because so many teams, London-based teams, particularly the likes of Arsenal, Tottenham, they're going to be going hell for leather for their, or maybe not Arsenal, but Spurs particularly, and a lot of the Chelsea's that are going to be going for the FA Cup because obviously they got knocked out the Carabao so early. So for me, I think it's Europe or bust, it's conference or bust, and I think if we got top 10, it'd be amazing. I think this season, based on how poorly we started the season off, so we'll see.
Well, Moyes said in his press conference, mate, he did alert to it, and it's true. It's a fact. We're not even at the halfway point yet. It's unique because. Yeah. We'd be well into the halfway point now, so we've got a little bit of time on our side more than we've had before. So you want to see something sooner rather than later. The first 15-20 minutes of Brentford game, that was positive. The rest wasn't. But it's true. I mean, there's so many people in the game that say it. It's fine margins that are, is what gets people results. And Stuart Pearce. Again, it's a really good interview he did on TalkSport. He says, "Listen, I'm not beating about the bush. It's fine margins is what is holding West Ham back. At some point, I think they will convert their chances. And once they get that first couple of chances converted and they get points on the board and a couple of the players get back they're into their groove, then things can change. I mean, Scamacca not got into the groove yet. Paqueta not got into the groove yet. Jared Bowen not found his form yet. And Antonio not found his form yet. Benrahma, the only one that's been a little bit consistent right now, really, in the team. Declan Rice, he's given us regular 6 and 7s, not 8s and 9s. So, yeah, it'll be an interesting one.
I mean, usually, you might have one or two players not in form, but we've had, to be fair, at least half to 2/3 of the squad haven't been in form. That's very unusual. Unusual. And as you said, you go back, and I know, you can look at every game, but there's think about if Jared had scored that goal, that penalty at Liverpool, and if we'd had the goal for Chelsea, this guy, hit the post here. You said you're right. Last 2 seasons, those chances were going our way, and we were winning games by the odd goal rather than losing games by the odd goal. The only thing that worries me a lot is from the Brentford game particularly is, we don't very rarely. I think until begin this season, it went something stupid like 100 games or something ridiculous that we hadn't conceded more than been 2 goals from each other, and we've conceded a few goals where almost our defence was the rock, and we'd nick a goal. That's not the case this season, and that's the thing that's worried me a bit. But it's part and parcel of being a West Ham fan.
Yeah, and I think if people are putting it out there and asking me where I'm at, I said beforehand the next 3 games would be vital: Arsenal, Brentford, and Leeds. We've not got nothing from the first 2. We're now at Leeds, and for me, it's essential that we get something from it. Would I jump the gun if we didn't and move on from Moyes? It depends on the manner. If we do get beat tonight, hopefully we don't, but if we were to get beat convincingly and we were crap and you could blatantly tell something was not right, that's very different. But I'm looking at the fixtures now, Russ. Brentford in the Cup on Saturday, then it's Wolves, and we're at the midway point of the January, before we then take on Everton and then Newcastle. So there's no easy fixture. Right now, it's a game at a time for me, probably.
Yeah. I don't think you can look. And actually, some people say, look, we've got some really tough games in February. Don't forget, we had a really tough beginning to the season, and actually, some people didn't think we were going to get any points. We got a couple of points. And people thought we're not going to get a point to October. And actually, sometimes when we play slightly stronger sides, we actually, it doesn't make no sense, but we tend to turn up for them games a bit more. Yeah. So, but it is. Look, you could go through history, and I know, people. I mean, what we got here, Kai said you could say we're unlucky and that it's fine margins, but I think we were lucky in the previous 2 seasons by fine margins. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of games where we shouldn't have. We can go through all of our sort of reviews. And we go, we were unlucky. We were lucky to win that game, or we should have scored a lot more goals, or one went in, but actually Antonio missed 4 chances, and now that 1 chance isn't going in, it's highlighting other things that's wrong, and I think that's the trouble. Because we have played the same all the way through. But you're totally right. We're in this position after 17 games. We are in this position. But I think look at the situation. We win today, and we go up to 14th. 1 or 2 more points if we had it along the way, we'd be mid-table. Yeah. It's so tight. It is so tight at the moment, but it is what it is.
But a game like today, though, can be the difference of like Leeds winning the game, and again, it's about the mindset of David Moyes. Is he going into this game going avoid defeat? So is he not thinking of 3 points? Is his minimum requirement the point? And that's what pisses fans off. And we know we can turn up and do a job if we turn up on the day. So it's just about getting the right system in place.
It's fair to say I think Leeds are for the taking tonight. I really think they are, but then to be honest, so are we. So are we. So Leeds can turn up and blow it, and just have the Ellen. I mean, as people know, I have a not affiliation with Leeds, but I went to see a lot of their games when I was at uni because my flatmate was Don Revy's grandson, so we'd go and watch a lot of the games at Leeds. So I've always kept an eye out for Leeds, and that Ellen Road crowd, if it's on their backs. It's on their backs. I mean, it's like us, It's like it's a very raucous crowd, and we want to go out and nullify. We want to go up, to take the tempo, almost do what Brentford did to us. Just shut shop. Make sure it's all tight, and then really go for it. I think tonight. Right. Okay. Let's go with let's do the thingy-jig. What's it called? Oh, you can
the predicted 11. The predicted 11.
Thank you. Right. So. Obviously, you played 3-4-2-1 against Brentford. Traditionally, we do a 4-2-3-1. What are your thoughts, Anton? What are we going to go with?
I don't know, mate. I don't know. I think he's. I don't like the back 5. I don't like it. Nah, I don't think we've got what's necessarily there for that. So I would quite happily resort back to the 4 in the back line.
Yeah. I don't think we've got it right now because I think with Zuma out, you've got you could have a lovely back 3 of Aguerd, Zuma, and maybe Tilo, and that as a back 3 is quite tasty. I quite like that as a back 3, but I think with Zuma out, that's a key role because then you assume that obviously Aguerd would come in at the centre, and then it means Cresswell would go on the left. Yeah. And I know there's been a lot of criticism about Cress obviously recently playing, but I think we'll probably go back to a back 4. I reckon he might go back to that.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. So let's start in goal then.
Goal? So I've been calling, as probably many fans has been, putting Areola in goal, but I've not been so pissed off about him not starting. Yeah. However, there is a however on this. I think the last couple of games have shown me that I think it's time now. I think the transition period does need to happen now. I think what I've noticed is. Clearly, what other people have noticed ahead of me is that Fabianski he is a good shot stopper, but he is slow in the uptake, and he's slow at transitioning the ball through the team, and that is something that we've lacked, like lack of pace, and we are sometimes slow, and then that slowness creates static. We become a static team, and we'll definitely. I think we need that fast movement of thinking, and he does that. Areola does that now. Whether or not Moyes does it today. I'm not sure, but the big question is, I think he's closer than ever into making that transition. I think he is. So it could be today, it could be the next game. We've got the FA Cup coming now on Saturday, exactly. So if it's going to happen, it could happen today and put Fabianski in the FA Cup. I don't know, mate. But that's I would hope he would go Areola tonight, but is it too much of a risk for the first game in your new thing? I mean, if Aguerd's going to get his debut tonight, then maybe it's the right decision.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think as you said, because we've got Brentford at the weekend, whoever's not in goal tonight will be playing tomorrow, obviously on Saturday. So yeah, I'll go for Areola. I'll
I'll agree with you.
Let's go for Areola. Right. Okay. Let's go back. Let's go back 4. I think you're probably right with back 4. So
I mean, the only other thing is that he did play Oggy and Dawson. So if he went for a back 5 and you put Aguerd through the middle, which has happened in the Europa Conference League, it's a doable option if you've got Aguerd back there, because then you've got the pace that Dawson and Oggy don't have.
Yeah.
So there is that option to think about, but I'll go with the back four with you.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going back four. So left back, and obviously, Mr. Cresswell or Mr. Johnson or Emerson. Who are you thinking?
It's going to be crazy, isn't it? I mean,
It's going to be Cress. We know it's going to be you.
I think I've done something. I can't even remember when I said it, but I think there maybe is a time and a place now for Cresswell. I mean, obviously we know we need a left back, and we need someone in there. But I think it's time to look at that transition as well in that position. I think he's been a great servant to the club. I still think he's got a future at the club, but he needs to be not guaranteed starting every week. And this is the current situation we're in. One of our longest serving players and oldest players in the team is guaranteed a starting left back position with no competition, really.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think the good thing is Longello's playing well, on loan at Birmingham. So, although Moyes hasn't been playing really, when obviously he had a really good, that Europa League game, he was awesome, wasn't he, last year? And then it just went off the radar completely. I think left back is always a position I think we've struggled the last couple of years, and I'm surprised we haven't. I mean, we've looked at players, but we haven't committed to any players. Where we have is sort of centre back, and I think that's an area we definitely need to address. Probably not for January, but I think in the summer, whoever's in the dugout, if it's Moisey or if it's someone else. Yeah, I think Cress will be playing at left back, right back. Then who do you think?
I mean, listen. I don't think it will be Safal.
No.
I don't think it will be Safal this game. Tilo Kira, before the World Cup, was in there, was getting his run in the game. But the one player that I felt that was really vital, the two players that were really vital to West Ham during our progressiveness and forwardness was Ben Johnson and Safal. But Safal's lacking, and I think we kind of lack a little bit of that extra pace that Ben Johnson's got. So I would like Ben Johnson, but I think it probably will be Tilo.
I think, I'm with you. I think it would be nice to have Ben Johnson there, but I think it will be Tilo. I think he's had his 2 weeks off for good behaviour, coming back from the World Cup. But I think I think Tilo will be playing there. He's spoken. I think it was talking about sort of the fact that Tilo was brought in as a versatile defender, not necessarily as a right back or a centre back, but he can play both. And I think there.
And Russ, another thing to consider as well is the inconsistency in all these players' team selection and positional play as well. So Tilo Kira's had to play in a back three, in the middle of a back three, on the right of a back three. He's played right back. So he's had to play several different positions, as has most of our back line. So it would be so nice now to get the run out and a consecutive amount of games in that position. That's key. We had that last season. We had the consistency in team selection. We've not had it this year, and that's another things impacted as well. So Tilo for me.
Totally right.
Johnson or Tilo.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. I think you can always pick the 11, and that was a good thing, but a bad thing as well, because if we could pick the 11, so could the opposition. And I think that's been one of the issues this year, and not this year, but sort of in previous years with Moyes particularly.
Well, you could pick the 11 to a certain extent, but you wouldn't know essentially what if the striker wasn't there. We could, the configuration of it, such that would change. So.
Makes sense. Actually, Matt, Arthur scored a winner. He's back. I thought he scored the winner for the Besiktas the other day, didn't he? He's sort of back there.
It was a good free kick.
It was a great free kick. How about Ash Beat? He's off to Newcastle, mate. They're going to play him and risk losing a couple of million quid we're going to get for him. Which is a shame, because I think he's someone I think he would have slotted into that right back position, but wasn't meant to be, unfortunately. Toby really likes Emerson. I think he's played as well, better than the other signings. I play him at left back. He isn't defensive minded, but Cresswell and Johnson are SHIT. There we go, Toby. I mean, Emerson, by his own admission, same as Masuaku, aren't left backs. They're not left backs. They're wing backs, and very much the modern day wing back. And I think what Cresswell gives you is defensive reassurance, so to speak, although he is going to be up against a pacey Leeds side, and he never plays well against pace, but he's still got that sort of delivery as well when he wants to put it in properly. And as you said, we haven't really got many options there, unfortunately. No. All right, centre half. So is Aguerd playing?
Yeah, no ifs buts about it. He's got to play. and we've got to see a kind of run in the team for him. And I think it's the pace. Listen, a lot of people have said, how can we sit there and say Aguerd's the best player? It's going to make such a difference for us. I think what we're saying is what we've saw from him at Rennes, what we've heard about him in his past, and also what he did in the World Cup when he played the games as well. He's shown that he's extremely clever on the ball. He's the defender we've been missing for years. He's the defender we've been missing since a mixture of Winston Reid left the club, really. Was fit Winston Reid, sorry. Yeah,
no, I totally agree. And I think it's crazy to think it's his Premier League. If he starts, it's his Premier League debut, so to speak, starting debut. And we're in January. We signed him in August. It's one of those things. But we know he's a good. We know what a good player he can be and what he can bring. And he just bring. You can see why Moisey so wanted him because of just what he brings. And you talk about sort of Areola's distribution in terms of getting teams moving forward. His delivery, he's passing, and he passes it quickly as well to feet, and he can ping it. He's a real. He could really sort of make a massive difference.
Absolutely.
When he's got that sort of bending in time. Right, so who's he going to partner then? So we've got Bonner, we've got Dawson. We know Zuma's not going to play because he's basically said it. Ben Johnson can play there. Who's his partner going to be?
It's got to be Dawson. I mean, Dawson was our best defender against Brentford. Again, just stepping up to the plate wherever need be. And I think when you put him alongside Aguerd, he's going to be the kind of big man, the big tough man, get stuck in, do all this dirty work that Aguerd won't do. Not that Aguerd wouldn't do, but he's not really designed to do that, essentially, and that's what Zuma will be doing. So I think it's a no-brainer that really Dawson's got to be in there.
Yeah, totally agree. Yeah, I think it's... And also, we're not really blessed with having many options at the moment. I mean, the other option is Tilo could go in and play right at centre back, and then Ben Johnson could play right back, or Soufal. But obviously this may change, because he said if he goes with a back three, then all bets are off really on that.
Absolutely.
Right, okay, let's go. If we go for the 4-2-3-1 then. So obviously last game we had Rice and Paqueta in the midfield two. I think that's the two we go with tonight.
Absolutely, it's a no-brainer. I mean, listen, some people, I've seen some silly comments, man, on Twitter. Sometimes I struggle not to reply, but I don't. And people are going like, what a waste of money in terms of Paqueta, and people are getting pissed off at Declan Rice's passion. But there's nothing wrong with showing a bit of passion on the field. Absolutely none whatsoever. And for me, I want someone like that. I don't want on the sidelines or someone on the park is like an Arteta. Arteta is annoying. Arteta has been annoying for several years since he's come into the club. There's a difference between someone who flaps their hands in a pissed off attitude and it does it in the wrong manner, which is what Arteta does. But Declan Rice cares. And nobody can take away from the fact that if he does leave, or when he leaves, that he's not given or tried to give his all for the West Ham badge, and I think he will continue to do so. So that's another transition thing we've got to get used to with Declan Rice. Paqueta has to play in that role, and I think him and Rice can come good. And I think if we had another manager, they would do that as well. Yeah. They would play Paqueta there, and we just have to let Declan Rice do his sitting job. He has to sit and do what he does best.
Yeah. As much as he's a frustrated box to box midfielder, you see how the role he plays for England, he plays basically in that defensive role, and and he can bring it forward. He has got more in his locker, but he is a defensive midfielder. That's what he should be doing. If he's not going to be defensive, you need to bring in a defensive midfielder, and then he does it. But that's not his role. That's what he wants to do.
And I think people were pissed off with Paqueta because a couple of times when he played forward balls, it went straight to the opposition. And one particular chance, he actually played the ball back and threw Soufal under the bus a little bit with his pass. The issue with that is that it's Paqueta finding his feet again in the West Ham team and get familiarising himself around these players. Soufal's not quick thinking. Paqueta will lose the ball because that's the sort of player he is. He's a creative player, so a creative player loses the ball. It's just what they do when they don't lose the ball is what we should really be concerned about. And if he does lose the ball, we need to hope that the back line are capable enough of dealing with that. And that's why, for me, Paqueta, who played in this role for Lyon, played in this role for Brazil, has to be right beside our best midfielder, Declan Rice.
Yeah, and also, it's the same argument that everyone said with, the Paqueta thing, losing the ball, and in the same way that people who are pro Benny have said, oh, but he loses the ball, but he's creative. But that's the trouble, he's the same. He's in the same ballpark, really. They're both creatives. They're both trying to try stuff, and it invariably mean that they'll lose the ball. The only trouble with Paqueta is he's doing it in the centre of the park, where Benny's maybe doing it on the wing, so he's a little bit more there. But it is what it is. I think it's. I think that too is a very, very tasty too.
But I agree with that comment. I agree to a certain extent with this comment up here. I don't know if I can get it. The one that Artel put in. I don't know what's wrong with my one. This one here. Disagree. Release Rice, played downs behind them both. I get that to a certain extent. Artel doesn't mean what I'm saying or about to say is right. The concern I've got with that is that we're relying again on two centre defensive midfielders that we don't need to do anymore. We don't need to do that anymore. We've done it before. That's the conservative West Ham. Every West Ham fan is calling for West Ham to progress forward and go forward. But by playing Rice Downs or Rice Souček and Paqueta, that's us having to go back to the midfield three, and that then impacts our forward-thinking players. I think Paqueta needs Ben Rama type in front of him, because I think that's who thinks his mindset. He thinks that way. He thinks creatively. So.
No, I agree, and I think Benny needs someone like Paqueta with him as well, because they have that, because it's almost like they're on different levels, different planes. Right, okay, so let's go with the easy ones. The right side of the three, it's got to be Jared, isn't it?
Jared, yeah. Listen, he's not found his heights yet.
No.
There's little, he niggles away, looking like he's going to be all right. He looks like he's going to get a little bit of something in the game, and it doesn't work. But I think the problem with, this maybe goes against everything I said. The player's not playing well. You should rest him or drop him. He's not been playing that great, so in theory we should. The concern is, I just think he still can offer something for us. He can step up out of nowhere. He's got that pace. He's got that burst of pace. And I think if you're going to try this new system, I think you want Bowen to be part of that system with Paqueta and Ben Rama and whoever's going to be up top to feed the balls in.
Yep. Right, okay, so let's go with the left side. Now, there's a couple of options, isn't there? Here, obviously, we know that Ben Rama's going to play, but whether he'll play as a 10 or whether he play on the left. Because actually, there's some calls in the chat for Benny to play as a 10. Yeah. And I quite like that as an idea.
Absolutely.
But I don't think Moisey will go with it.
The thing is, if for me, if we talk about the potential two new players coming in, the two players coming in there in the midfield, I think there's a really big call there for Fornals to come in. Yes, absolutely. Definitely. Now, if Fornals comes in and Benny comes in and Bowen's there, what you've got then is the ability for Benny, Bowen, and Fornals to flip it around and change it where necessary. So one can play it in the left, they all can play in that role, and they all can play in that supporting role. So I do think we need Fornals. I think there's a big shout for Fornals to come in to the team because he's got fight, he can create. He's got a bit of something about him. He's got that pit bull terrier attitude. He could drop in if we need him to drop in as well. Russ. But the other thing is that he can be in the number 10 or drift out to the left if we need him to. And so if you put Ben Rama in at left, I don't think it necessarily matters because he may go play through the middle and play in the left as well and swap.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Fornals, what we've missed is that energy. It's that sort of it's that certain quality that actually you don't realise what he brings. Because people go, isn't Fornals losing the tone of the teams? But actually it's the energy, and I think that energy can be infectious. So if you're running after balls, you're chasing, he always chases after lost causes and things like that. And it might seem quite minor, but actually, if he's doing that, then the other players go, I've got to do that. You hear the reception of the crowd as well, when you're chasing after these not hopeless balls, but chasing. That's what we need to do. Is a real high press on Leeds. I think. Look at some of their defenders as well. If we can high press them, they're gonna shit themselves. And then we've got really opportunity to flip it and counter on the back of that. So no, I think that'll be your three, and that's not necessarily the three they won't stay in that position. I think you said Bowen will drift in. And almost play. He'll play as a 10 sometimes. Then Fornals will drift out. I think Fornals may end up sort of being more defensive minded, drifting out to the left maybe, and Benny can have a bit more freedom in the middle. There's flexibility there.
There's a bit of flexibility there, and also if Rice does move forward, then Fornals can sit if necessarily. And one thing I've got to give Benny credit for is his defensive attributes. Like, he's done really well defensively, in my opinion, and he is tracking back and he is getting stuck in and he is doing what David Moyes wants to do with all these players. But he does need that release mechanism, and I think the release mechanism for someone like Benny is Paqueta, and Paqueta sitting in behind him. And I think listen, shit, man, we need something tonight, Russ. We need it. And, I think so far from looking at this team, it's got the capabilities on its day. Look at the creativity there.
Yeah, and I think the frustration thing is, I think we've almost had to, we've almost like had to accommodate Souček into the side. Now, if you read Moyes' comments, he talks about the Paqueta Rice midfield, and he said, "Oh, there we've also got Downs, and Souček who could play." And Souček was the last of the four people in the list he mentioned. So it's almost like he has to start making some inroads in training to get back into this side, because at the moment he's not in this side.
Yeah. No,
and he's a long way away from being where he used to be, which is almost like him and Rice as dead cert in the middle, first two names on the team sheet, basically. And he's a long way off that pace. Up front, it's got to be Gianluca in it. I think this is Gianluca's not his last chance, but his best chance to get some game time, to get some goals, to do something.
Yeah, I think with the Paqueta, Fornals, Bowen, Benny kind of mindset, then I think Scamacca needs to run in the team. No ifs or buts about it. Listen, I'm a massive fan of Antonio. I think he's got the brute strength. He's just lacking. He's lacking what everyone's lacking at West Ham right now. But would I start him over Scamacca? No, Scamacca's the main man. Give him the chance and give him the support. And the support there, the creativity again, Paqueta, Fornals, Bowen, Benrahma, Scamacca dropping deep, allowing the runners to go through. Like, he never had the best of games against Brentford, but his hold-up play, Russ, was all right. It was. It was actually. It was really good. But the only thing you lacked there was support, because we looked static again. And that's something I've not seen from West Ham for such a long time. Two and a half seasons was the last time I felt like West Ham were static in the midfield. We were standing still. No one was really moving for the ball. And I think that's what Fornals brings to you, is that energy.
Yeah. No, I totally agree.
Which is what we need.
And that is, Artel was like Fornals in the middle. We're not saying Fornals is going to be in the middle. We actually think he's basically that three is going to be picked, and there's going to be moving. And actually, that four with Scamacca, the amount of time Scamacca will, as you said, will drop deep, will act as a 10, and then Bowen will move into up front. That happens quite a lot in the games that they've both been playing together. And so I think there's going to be some flexibility there. And that's what you want, because you don't want players to be easily picked up and marked. You want them to drift off and be in really awkward positions. You want Paqueta to be all over the place so that no one can really mark him, because he might drop back and pick the ball off from Dawson. He might move more up front and take a knockdown from Scamacca, and that's what you want. You want these players to not be easy to be picked off. And I think we've been too static, and we have been able to be picked off relatively easy. People know how we're going to be playing. Jesse Marsh knows how we're going to be set up, or have a rough idea of how we're going to be set up. So we need to do something. We need to, that's why the Brentford game was different. Although I was listening to, obviously I was watching it in the US, and they had Danny Higginbottom as the sort of the pundit back at the studio, and he'd spoken to Thomas Frank the day before. And basically, Thomas Frank told him exactly how West Ham were going to play and how exactly he was going to be set up, and it was exactly that. He was West Ham going to come out the blocks. We're going to high line. We're going to keep the ball, and then we're going to hit with a counter attack. And it's exactly that. So so Jesse's is very similar in terms of we talk about the Red Bull model. That is Jesse Marsh. He is the Red Bull model. Yeah. So he gets good players and flips them and makes a lot of money out of them. So. Yeah, he's no slouch at all. So it's going to be quite interesting to see what happens. As someone said, who said that was that team? Man, don't give her. That team is going to have to be top 7. It is. but the right mentality, I think, as well. You know, and everyone playing on form. If that team was playing on form, regardless of who's in the dugout, that team easily should be top 7, top 8. Easily.
Well, the thing is, Russ. Like, I think what was the stat we've conceded? Is it 22 goals we've conceded?
Something like that, yeah.
Which in comparison to the rest of the Premier League is not bad. It's actually not that bad. So it shows you that the fine margins that we're struggling with is going forward. Now, if you just look away from, well, if you look at the back line and you think Areola's there, what's the difference between Areola and Fabianski? Right, really the difference is that Areola thinks quicker in terms of going forward.
Yeah.
Right, and his distribution in theory should be better in theory. So hopefully that can progress West Ham further forward. Aguerd, what does he offer? The ability to carry the ball, defend, and ping a ball at distance. Yeah. And then when you look in front of him, you've got those 5 or 6 players that in theory should have enough in the tank to be able to do what they need to do to convert those chances. The pressure really falls upon the front 6 today, if that is the team.
Yeah,
the pressure is you need to go and convert your chances. Again, look at Brentford. How many times did we hit the post twice? Dawson came close, really close if it wasn't for a fantastic save against Rhea. And then bang, we were stung with our backs against the wall. And if we don't do that, if we can bang a couple of goals in reasonably early, then bang, it's there for the taking. People are probably listening to this going, shit man, you're totally deluded. You're deluded because you've not been watching what you've been watching. Well, yeah, I have been watching what I've been watching, but equally I've been looking at it going, wow, we've got another 20 chances. We're not converting our chances. So another 20 shots, another 20 shots, another 20 shots, another 20 shots. We need to convert them at some point.
Yeah, that's it. That is it for me. It is about, as you said, I know we harp on about his fine margins, and I know Audi, and I know people are going to, oh, you're deluded. We're not. It's actually, you have an opinion, we have an opinion, and actually, it's like when we do our ratings. Some people will give someone a 4, and someone else will give them a 7. People are watching the same game. We're watching the same game. We take different things out of it, and this team needs something. This team needs luck, a bit of luck. That's what we need. We've had, although we played very well for the last 2.5 years, we had a lot of luck went our way. They said those one chances, might have a half dozen chances in a game. We converted one of them. We're not converting that one chance. We're still having the same number of chances, really, but we're not converting that one. We need a bit of luck. We need something to go our way, and then I think then you'll see a different side. This side needs confidence. This side needs someone. This side needs Skamaka to get a hat trick. Or score a bicycle kick, or one of his. If that shot against Brentford had gone in when he took, just for Antonio, then beat himself, trying to do the same thing. If that shot in the second half went in, everyone. That's what we need. We need a bit of magic. We need something to get the team going, and also the fans going as well. Exactly, Green. This team needs a kick up it does. It needs a kick. It needs a proper kick up the jack seat. And don't forget, as of 2 days ago, our new sporting director's joined officially, and I think that'll make a massive difference as well.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, shit, the only way is up. Surely to God, the only way is up.
Yeah, it has to
Surely,
be. It
has to be. Yeah. Well, I tell you what, Moyes is not stupid, right? Moyes knows the situation. He knows something's not working. They'll be trying to work behind the scenes. He knows his job's not safe, even though he says the comments. This is the thing. This is the thing that people say. Like, people listen to his press conference and they say, "Oh, I'm backed by the owner." He's not fucking stupid. He's not stupid. If you're doing really shit at the job that you're brought in to do, and things are not working, he knows he's not got a guaranteed job. It's as simple as that. Yeah. It's just maybe if we were at the halfway point, Russ, and maybe if we had played 21 games and things were still not great, and we were just coming in transfer window, it'd be different. But we are, and things have changed, and the World Cup's changed it. So I think he's got a few games left.
Yeah, and I totally agree. I mean, he's not. I mean, people, Moyes deluded and stuff. He's managed over 1,000 games, so he's not stupid. He knows his job's against the line. He knows, he had to make a big call at that Brentford game to take out Souček, in his opinion, because Souček is one of his stalwarts, and he took him out to try something different. He's not. His jobs. He knows his job's on the line. Everyone's jobs on the line, Premier League, unless you're, Guardiola or Arteta. I mean, to be honest, Arteta's job was on the line last year. They were languishing where we were, until a run in form. That's what this team just needs. It just needs a little bit of luck, a little bit of quality. And as Rich says, you do create your own luck. And I think when you're playing well, the luck goes with you. The luck goes with you. The amount of times we've come out of the games last season before, thinking we were lucky there to get to won that game. That's not happening now because it never falls for you when you're in the bottom of the league. It just never does. So, look, we'll see what happens. It's not down to selection. It's not down to tactics. It's not down to apathy. What we're missing is team spirit. I totally agree. I didn't realize Anton gone. I was just talking to myself. There we go. If Pepper won this, team will win the league. Fair enough. We need to make the Leeds goal bigger. We do. And also, the fact is, the teams around us at the moment, we are in a relegation dogfight at the moment. I think that's fair enough to say. And although Moyes doesn't think we're in a European fight, I don't think so. I think we are in a relegation dogfight at the moment. We're fortunate the fact that we've got a smaller goal difference as well. Look at teams. I think others are minus 22 goal difference and stuff as well. So it's about. And you can see why he's always been very cautious, but he has always been cautious as a manager. It frustrated me in the Brentford game the other day when he couldn't, when he had so many subs, we still could have made him. We didn't, but it is what it is. People need to stop passing sideways and backwards, then we create some luck. Yeah, fair enough. Totally agree. That just lacks of confidence until they scored. We look decent. Yep. We need open on VAR. We need 11 Ballon Dawson fighting spirit. We need the Dawson from last year. That's what we need. Who actually makes the call that playing in our final third, our last third is a good tactic. Any advances we make, cheaply hand it back to them. Yeah, fair enough. Watching Leeds last game, they'll run us ragged for 70-80. I mean, that's the thing. Leeds will be a high press. They'll spend a lot of time. They've got a lot of energy. So, yeah. Is Moyes planning on 5 long term? Otherwise, why was Emerson brought in? Yeah, good point, Harry. May well. This could change. This could go to if it went to a back 5, for example. If we did that quickly, this is how I reckon it would go. I think Crest would go in there. I think Aguerd would go in as a sweeper type thing. I think you'd have him there. You'd probably then bring in Soufal. I reckon he's more. Then you'd have. Where's Emerson? Where's me Emerson? There's me Emerson. You put Emerson in there. Take out probably Fornals. And you'd probably have something like that very quickly. Have we got there? 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Just counting. So, yeah, I mean, one player coming in, and, it could change the formation, but we'll see. What team? We don't know. Why is it called a relegation dogfight? Considering teams in the ball consider lack confidence. Why is it called a chicken fight? Good shout. Anyway, peeps, we are going to go. We'll be back tonight for the watch along. I will possibly be there. Maybe various others. Matt will probably be there. Anton will be on. So join us. We'll see how close we are to that. I don't know. But put in the comments, if you're not watching it live, put in the comments below what you think your prediction of them is going to be. And as I said, glad to be back. Peeps. Honestly, I am. And hopefully our fortunes will change and then I'm back. Rush is back now, so, you can start winning games now. It'd be nice. 3 points against Leeds would be a massive boost. It is a crunch game. Maybe people think Brentford was a crunch game. I think Leeds, for me, is the crunch game because we're actually playing a side that's around sort of the same area that we're in the league, and a win can make a massive difference. Not only I think we got up 2 or 3 places. I think we got to 15th or something like that if we win. But it's the confidence it will bring. And then you've got Brentford in the cup. I don't think Moyes will put out a particularly strong side for that. I think, in my honest opinion, but. Who knows? Sometimes he does surprise us with these things. And then it's all eyes on the Wolves game the following week. But anyway, as I said, thanks for joining us. Hope you're well. Hope you have a good rest of the day. We'll be back later on for the watch long and all that stuff. Anton's going to do a mini preview for the Hammers headlines tonight, so keep an eye out for that. Get you ready for the Leeds game. And as I said, we'll be back with the watch along, and I'll be back tomorrow with my ratings, which you can join me with live and disagree with as well live. As always, I'd like to thank all of our lovely channel partners, members, subscribers, lovers, haters. We love you all. I promise you we do. We love you all. Whether you agree with us, disagree with us, most of you disagree with us, but that's it, innit? if everyone that's in the same opinion, it'd be a boring place. Anyway, take care, stay safe, stay lucky, stay healthy. Unlike me, got a terrible cold, and we'll see you guys very, very soon. Ta-ta for now, my friends. Bye-bye.